And welcome to another episode of Expert Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Carl White. And Carl, thanks for squeezing me into your calendar, man.
Oh, it's great to be here. I love it. Thanks.
It's going to be a really fun conversation. Two marketers getting together, so hang on to your seats because it's going to be
Only
lots
good things
of fun.
happen when two marketers get together, right?
That's right. So Carl is the founder of Market Advisory Group, and he's a marketer, but he's really targeted to healthcare professionals, so doctors, dentists, podiatrists, people of that world who are running their own company and want to keep it that way. And we're going to dive into that and let you explain a lot of that, Carl. So as we get into that, Carl, tell us a little bit. I mean, how did you get to doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, so I've been doing marketing in healthcare pretty much forever. Market Advisory Group for the past 6 years and change. Before that, large corporate America, but always marketing, always healthcare. One company's called Baxter. And so it's funny, Baxter's really known in hospitals, like in intensive care units primarily. So you're unconscious in the ICU, but you're surrounded by Baxter products.
There you
of
go.
all ages.
And you'd never know it, would you?
And you'd never know. And, we walk into a hospital and we start tallying up what's ours, what's not ours. And a few other areas as well. And another company called Hollister, which is very different from the clothing company Hollister, very specialty products. And in every case for Baxter and Hollister, it was always very specialty patient populations. It was not like general consumer goods. So the idea of, niching, specializing, different patients have different needs, that's not new. Growing up, my parents owned a family pharmacy, independent pharmacy. They're still around, but they were much bigger. I worked there. So, I've had one job that's not been in marketing or in healthcare, really. So healthcare commercial, healthcare marketing, it's kind of in my blood. And I knew that I wanted to keep that when I started Market Advisory Group. And so there it is. It's just kind of continuing the lifelong thing going on, I guess.
How cool. I love that. I love the family aspect. Our business is a family business as well. And my kids are growing up in it. But I love the fact that you've been able to kind of tie your passions, your desires and all that and stay within healthcare, because there's a lot of need there, because there are pressures in whether you're a dentist or a physician or whatever. There's pressure to sell out to the big guys, right? Talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to pivot on how do you actually help them gain clients and things. But talk a little bit about those pressures to sell out and why many times it's better for the patient if they don't. But
yeah, so like the easiest example, probably the poster child example, is anybody who runs a primary care practice of any kind. So primary care, pediatrics, OBGYN, those are good, examples. Essentially, your expenses go up a little bit every year, just as they do. You want to pay people a bit more, your rent goes up, whatever it is, but reimbursement does not follow suit. And so if you take insurance, the squeeze is just a little bit more every year. And after a while, it just gets harder and harder in that kind of environment to stay private. And so, it becomes pretty attractive to say, man, I mean, somebody just, called me up the other day and said, I could be the doctor, which is why I got into this. And they're going to take all that off my plate and I'll be an employee of them. And I get to see patients all day and not have to worry about fighting the insurance company and, reordering whatever it is. And for some, that's a great trade-off. Because that's what they want. And for others, it's not, because, going from an owner to an employee, for some it sinks and for some it does not. But that's what's kind of driving the pressure. If you look at, you don't see new startups generally. I hear more about where they're trying to do a cash pay model of one kind or another.
Right.
And they're figuring it out. Some of them are figuring it out. And, I've even had one say to me, there's no way you could stand up a traditional primary care practice today. Whether she's right or wrong, she was very emphatic about it. And because of the expense versus reimbursement is just, the numbers are kind of going in the wrong direction. So that's the motivation.
Yeah. So let's pivot now, because as marketers, right, we can help solve that problem many times, because cash is king and cash flow helps. And part of cash flow is attracting new clients, new patients on a regular basis, retaining them, getting referrals and all of that. And that's kind of the world that you live in when it comes to healthcare professionals. Let's dive into that. And what are some of the challenges you see for these practitioners,
Mhm.
and how do you help them really stabilize their business and grow their practice?
So yeah, so I mean, the couple of biggest challenges, I mean, in no particular order. Um, One is a set of practitioners who still are in the mode of if I build it, they will come. And
Hmm.
even if they will, they have a lot more choices than they used to. And they have a lot more ways to find you and your competition than they used to. And they're
Yeah.
taking advantage of it. Those that are in the game, the number one thing that I see when I get started is that they talk about themselves a lot. So just picture, it's 11 o'clock at night, the kids are in bed, and you've decided you want to look around for a new doctor. And what do? You go online. Those that get more attention talk about you first. So you go to the website. Those that say, look how great I am, look how much experience I have, I've done, this many patients, whatever. Um, all of the things being equal, they don't get as much time because although that's important when you're choosing a doctor, it's not what's first when
Right.
choosing a doctor. They want to have some idea, the potential patient wants to have some idea that you get me. And it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be much, but you get me. Talk about me first. I don't know you yet, Dr. X. I don't care about you yet, Dr. X. I care about me and my problem. And because it's 11 o'clock at night, I'm really tired. So make it easy for me to figure out if you care about me. I'll scroll and I'll start to see more about you. But those who just talk about themselves first, they tend to do as well.
They don't. Yeah.
They just don't tend to do as well. And there's a proper sequence of what you talk about and when.
Yes.
Talk about your target first. Um, that's probably the most common. Other
Yeah.
things that I see from time to time, they screw up the phone calls. So they're actually getting calls, but they're not keeping them. They screw up the patient relationship and there's a lot of churn. They don't keep them, especially when they should. Primary care doctor, let's stay with them. You should have that patient for years. And the patient wants to stay with you for years. It's painful to switch doctors.
It is.
So you
It
want to
is.
make a good choice. Be a good doctor and just, we recently switched a provider in a different space because they just overall messed it up and didn't have answers. Nothing
Right.
serious, but just we made a switch. So that's what I see. I see, you know, I built it. Why aren't they coming? Or why aren't
Yeah.
they coming enough? Or what happened? And they just don't know what to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so good about what you're saying about the website and being about the consumer, the patient. One of the phrases I use a lot is people are going to buy you more than what you do.
Mhm.
And it's that connecting part to say, I'm here to serve you. Here's the families we serve, or here's who we are
Yeah.
for, blah, blah. Because
Yeah.
that's going to draw me in. And
Yes.
even choosing a dentist. We just switched one dentist, and the experience I had walking in was phenomenal. The
Mhm.
front office people, the doctor, I got text from the actual dentist from my tooth, that I'm like, I've never received that.
Yeah.
Guess who's top of mind when a friend of mine says, "Hey, I'm looking for a dentist."
Yeah.
But what they didn't do, Carl, is they didn't have some kind of referral system.
Mm.
They treated me really well, but they never asked me, "Hey, do you have any friends who need a dentist? Do you
I
here's our."
know. I
And I'm
know.
sitting here going, "Wow, there's so much opportunity for business owners, let alone medical practitioners, to just up their game a little bit."
I know.
But the challenge is they need people like you, Carl, because you're an outside perspective. And
Mhm.
I deal with this all day, every day with business owners. And I've got
Yeah.
3 marketing coaches for my company, and I'm a marketer, but I'm too close to my company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same thing. So that's why people need somebody like you to come in from the outside and kind of what you did. Hey, let's look at website. Let's look at the calls. Let's look at the client experience. Let's look at
Mhm.
referrals. You could probably, I'm guessing, lay out 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 really simple
Well,
ways that if they improved 1%, right?
yeah, and sometimes like it doesn't come up that often for me, but just dislodging of doctors and selling, right? Oh, I could never do that. I can somebody. It's just this mountainous,
Yeah.
barrier is instantly erected.
Yeah.
And I deal with it with reviews, right? So what do we do when it's 11 o'clock at night? What's the first cut? It's how many reviews do they have? And then we
Yeah.
spend a lot of time looking at reviews. I a good number of the clients that I take on have just a small handful of reviews. And I look at them and I say, well, How long have you been in practice? A decade. Well, you must be really good at it, because if you weren't, you wouldn't still be open. And one of the reasons you're still open and good at it is you must have a pretty good reputation. When people go online at 11 o'clock at night and they see 1 or 2 reviews that are 2 or 3 years old, they don't know that you have a good reputation. And so I spend a lot of time with clients. Let's get you into a habit of asking for reviews. And there's different ways to do it. And you can physically ask or not, but you got to build this habit. Let alone sitting, asking a patient, hey, you have any friends? Like, that's like graduate level, holy cow.
Yeah.
But can we get into a habit of just getting some more reviews up there? They're real, they're honest. Happy people never think about giving a review. Unhappy people, man, they find the time to complain, don't they? And so you got to counteract that, and just that little victory, see reviews coming in, it's there you go, man. Just, we're proud because you work so hard to build a good reputation. You just got to ask people who are happy because they don't think of it on their own.
That's right. They don't. And giving them even the reason why a review is so important to go. You may not know this, Carl, but a lot of people find us at 11 o'clock at night and they're looking more, they're more influenced by what you say than by what I say. And that's why a review would help me serve more people the way we've served you.
Yep, we got to compete. And by the way, at 11 o'clock at night, here's the other 2 or 3 that they see online, and they have more reviews than you. Are they really better than you?
Yeah.
No. Well, guess what the impression that's left?
Yeah.
Are.
And
because a bunch of strangers said so.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking, just making it super simple, having a card that I could hand you, Carl, as you're walking out of my dental office with a QR code. Go, Carl, thank you so much. Here, that QR code, if you scan that, it takes you right to the review page.
I'll send you a text or whatever. Can we just do this? Yeah, whatever it is.
Oh, it'd just really make our day. Most people, if you serve them well and they're happy, I think within about 24 hours, they're happy to give you a review. I think after that, it kind of goes beep because we just get on with life.
We get busy. That's right. That's right. So,
And good golly, there's so many opportunities. All right, let's talk about other ways you help them. Give me some like marketing things that you've done for some of the people that you've helped, just to go, oh, here was a big win. It may not have been a massive marketing campaign, but a lot of times what I find is what those little hinges turn big doors. Sometimes it's just we just made this 1 or 2 little tweaks and here's what happened, and that replicates to so many other businesses.
Here's an easy one. When I say email marketing, most people groan because nobody particularly likes getting emails, and you could definitely overdo it, cross lines, and get annoying. Something that I do with clients is we do a monthly newsletter, very straightforward. And the reason that we do it, and this is their current patient population, right? Current or former patients, not hunting around for newbies. What I tell them is, look, out of sight, out of mind is a very, very powerful force, and you've got to fight back on it. And so I'm not saying a newsletter every day. Once a month, let's put some good, helpful information in your world together and send it out to them. And let's just try to leave a positive impression, because tomorrow, one of your patients might be hanging out with a friend who's, I'm looking around. Oh, and believe it or not, even though they are your patient, they don't always remember you in that moment. So why don't we just help them a little bit? And it's very easy for them. We do most of the work. We put it together. We send it out. They just have to look it over and say yes. Try to make it very easy for them. And it's so easy. It can be easy. It can be hard, but we just try to make things easy for clients. That's one example. And let's go back to what we were saying before. You're not looking for new patients. You're just trying to get more out of your current patient population, which is, we spend all of our days hunting the countryside for strangers and trying to convince them to become clients or patients or customers. What about the people who already like you because they've already chosen you?
That's right.
How about trying to, work more with that population? It ought to be easier, shouldn't it? It ought to cost less and yield more, all of the things being equal. And man, we all overlook it. We just all overlook it.
It is not sexy to market to your own database, Carl.
No,
it is not. Very profitable.
But if $1 is $1, does it matter where it comes from?
That's right. Yeah. Well, and we call it a dormant database. Everybody has one. And it's like, no, there's gold in them bar hills. Let's go
hmm
back, and email marketing is great. Short webinar type things. I mean, there's so many things you can do to these people because they already know you at some level.
Yeah.
Odds are, if you remind them in some fun ways over time,
Yeah.
they're going to come back. They're going to have friends come back, and your business is
Yeah.
going to grow. And that is low cost marketing.
Yeah. And by the way, so here, let's make the newsletter even easier. So I'm thinking of one, well, most clients, we do this. We do a blog every month. One, you can and should do more, but one, that's what their budget and time realities are. We do a few social media posts. Those become the stuff of the newsletter. So you've approved it once, and we can use it more than once. And by the way, the vast majority of your patient population isn't going to see the blog when you post it on your website, because that's just not how they're interacting with you. Same with your social media posts. But if you repackage it up and put it together in a little bit different form, easy, send it out to them. You wrote it for them or people who look like them to begin with. So it applies, send it out.
That's right. So do you work with practitioners across the country?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anywhere in
I'm
the
in
state?
Chicagoland, or most are here just by virtue of sort of my own ability to market and network and things. But yeah, I've got a couple of clients in New York State, a couple of small ones in California. What I do, I can do anywhere.
That's great. That's great. And the cool thing is, number one, the challenges that your clients face, no matter where they are pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, because of your expertise in that area,
mm-hmm.
you understand that industry better than most, and you can say, hey, over in New York, here's what we did for this guy, but you're talking to somebody in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And New York, doesn't matter. People are people.
Yeah.
And you have an ability to look across the state and across different medical professions, right? Unpack that a little bit, and the value that somebody like you brings to these doctors.
Right. So what's common with most healthcare practices is that they have an office or a set of offices, and there's some agreeable radius from that office that is kind of their hunting area, let's say. And so that is local marketing. A lot of what we do is online. So local, online, organic marketing. That's really where we play. And so it is true that, that's kind of common. We are a healthcare marketing agency, and I use the word healthcare very specifically, as opposed to medical or dental or podiatry or anything else. And the reason for that is I like the variety, and the cool idea that we implemented for the chiropractor in New York City might apply to the whatever out in Oregon. And who am I to have all the good ideas? Why not have some variety? If I get the value of saying we are only a dental marketing, we're not, but say we said, we know dentists back and forth. There's appeal to that. There's appeal to it. The choice I made is to have more variety for the benefit of clients and for the benefit of me.
Yeah, no, I love that healthcare marketing agency, because it puts you in a category, healthcare, right? You're not working with car repair shops.
Mm-hmm.
But you also understand that there's a variety, and people are people. And whether it's a chiropractor or a dentist, at the end of the day, the client, the patient, is looking for a lot of the same things, because we all make decisions emotionally first, then we back it up with logic.
Correct.
And so I've got it, going back to what you said at the website at the very beginning. I need to know, do I like you? Do I even want to come get you? Because if you're an old cruddy guy, no.
Yeah,
but if I can relate,
and that's universal.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Universal.
And so, but in healthcare, you've got some, I'm sure you've got some like big brother issues, HIPAA and all these other things that from a marketing standpoint, you've got to help them navigate. Is that right?
Correct. So we are a HIPAA compliant healthcare marketing agency devoted to helping private practices stay private. So what's funny about HIPAA is that none of my clients thought about how marketing and HIPAA can overlap, but they can and they do. And so there's a couple of legal documents you've got to get drawn up and ready to use. I did that because none of my clients who should be giving those same documents to me had them to give to me, which meant we both would have been at risk, them probably more so than me. So what I say is we can set up that HIPAA compliant relationship. We check all the appropriate boxes, and then off we go. And so we can help you grow your practice while maintaining the kind of compliance you need, which they all, nobody denies HIPAA. They all get HIPAA. There's like this blind spot with marketing. And so we close that gap and then off we go. And I find that it's funny. That's definitely a differentiator. But doctors don't seem to care about it as much, which kind of took me by surprise. Like, yeah. I mean, this legal document's 12 or 13 pages. I send it out and I get it back in moments, signed. Like,
wow.
I don't think you read that, but okay. That's, you do you. I'm not gonna, I know it's good. Right. I know it's fair. So
that's great.
But yeah, great. Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's good you do what you do, because businesses need people like you, Carl, and especially I would say healthcare professionals, because it's not, they probably don't take classes on marketing as they're in dental class or chiropractic school.
They get zero business exposure of any kind, any kind.
That's amazing.
And you name it, in medical, in dental, in therapeutic, and you name it, they get nothing. And then then they open up a practice and surprise, there's all this business stuff that you have to deal with.
Which is really a great way to pivot towards the end here, because if you didn't get any training in medical school around business or marketing, neither did any of your competitors. And you need to reach out to Carl to go, hey, I'm going to put an ace up my sleeve and bring somebody to the table and put them on my team who really understands healthcare marketing, is HIPAA compliant, and has experience in helping practitioners grow their business so that you can keep your business private without selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah. And I, the other part of private practices is, they're, for many of them, they're kind of like a Cinderella story in a sense. It's the little guy, David with Goliath, whatever you want. My clients versus the hospital versus the health system, which seem just, large and huge budgets and whatever. But there's lots of things that the private guy can do that the large guys just can't. They can't or they won't. And I like trying to level the playing field. And care's better. If you are my doctor and you own the place, you've got the most clinical freedom you're going to have to do what you think is best for me. If you work in a hospital or health system, you're just more constrained. And that's not in my interest as the patient. And I know I'm swimming upstream with this, but I'd rather you stay private because I want the better care.
Absolutely, brother. I won't even go into the story of what I just went through, but I think it's great.
We all have a story. It's true. And it's like you start talking about something, you find out everybody's been through the same thing. This is one of those things.
And how do you find a good doctor, dentist, chiropractor, whatever? Most of the time it's friends referring people that they've had great experiences with. Then I'm going to go check the reviews. I'm going to go to the website. All of those, that's marketing. All of that is marketing. That's what Carl can help you do. So if you're in the healthcare world, doctor of some nature, and you run a business, you need to reach out to Carl. Carl, where does somebody find you? How do they take that next step just to understand who you are, what you do?
The easiest way is my website, which is Market Advisory Group. That's all one word. It's long, I get it, but just Market and then Visory, VISORY group.com. I'm there. Contact form is there. You can schedule a call any way you want. That's probably the most direct and easiest way. I've got a podcast as well. It's also devoted. It's called Practice Care. It's on all the major platforms. And it's devoted to same mission, help private practices stay private. Through guests, we bring in business topics. You're Dr. X and you're facing this issue. How are you dealing with it? What are you learning so that others could benefit? That's a less direct way. You can get that on the website also, but the website's probably the easiest way.
Excellent. Okay, so we will make sure that's captured in the show notes, marketadvisorygroup.com. And Carl White, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm really intrigued about how you help healthcare professionals market their practice to serve more people, to provide better care, and to grow their revenues really at the end of the day.
Stay private because that's what you want anyway.
I love it. Carl, thank you. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Michael. This has been I've loved it. Thank you.